Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 187, and I'll be honest with you guys, we're always honest with you here. This is just a weird week in the entertainment world. Like, there's big stuff and nothing at all at the same time. So, Josh and I rode what's called the struggle bus when it comes to a discussion topic this week. So, we're going to let you in on a little secret. When we're really lazy and we can't think of anything better to do,
whoa.
we have you guys do the work for us and submit fan requested questions for us to go over on the podcast. That's like we can't go to the well too often for this, but I think this is the first time we've gone to this well with Josh present. Normally that's my get out of jail free card of Josh has something and I have to do the podcast by myself. I'll just take your questions. So that's what we're doing this week. You asked some really interesting questions. I threw out a question. I'm more just curious to hear Josh's thoughts on it into the mix. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take your questions as well as go over some of the quote-unquote big news topics of the week in the world of entertainment. There's one in particular, and then everything else. There's a big news topic, a distraction to that news topic from the same studio, and then some other stuff that we threw in there, so we had more than two news topics. But Josh, how are you doing tonight on this brutally honest evening?
I'm chilling like a villain, my dude. It's been an interesting week to be sure, for more than one reason. It's chilling. Today was weird. My mom, I had to drive her to her work because she was dizzy or some stuff. It's been a weird day. It's been a weird day all around, honestly.
You drive her through lunch or breakfast?
I got all kinds of stuff. Dude, I ate out multiple meals before noon today, so let's not talk about Josh's eating habits.
Well, what about Josh's viewing habits? You watch anything good recently?
This week, no. I've been really, really, really busy this week. However, after this episode, after we're done recording this, I'm gonna go downstairs, and my dad and I are gonna watch Prey. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Segue, because that's what I watched this weekend. I watched Prey. So here's where I'm gonna get in trouble with some people. It's the best Predator movie, and it's not really close. There's going to be some people who'll be like, the original's a classic. It is, but it's very much of its time. And also, I like the original Predator movie once the Predator's involved, but the intro part of it of just we're on this special mission with the best commandos, it doesn't really... I don't know, it doesn't interest me nearly as much. Once it becomes a cat and mouse game, that's a whole lot cooler than stick around. It's cool. It's 80s machismo, but I like the stalking element more, like a traditional slasher. This is awesome. I think it's super, super cool that you've got your traditional English-speaking version, but then you also have a Comanche dub version that they did the entire movie in Native American speak of Comanche, which is super cool, so I'd be curious to go back and watch it in that way. I love this movie. It doesn't matter if you watch the English or the Comanche dub version. There's not a lot of dialogue, so you get it either way. It's really, really, really well done. The doggo is super cute. He is the goodest boy in the world. But I think I like this more than any other Predators because there's actually more story to it than just a race to survival. It is a coming of age story. It is, I know some people are all pissed. A girl couldn't take down a predator. A girl could take down this predator, especially if it's this girl against this predator. I like that not only are humans back in time in terms of technology, the predator itself is still the predator, but not as developed as we're used to. So he's not game breaking, for lack of a better term. But Amber Midthunder is fantastic in the lead role. So much of it is on her because she doesn't have a big supporting cast through most of this movie. That being said, there's still a ridiculously high body count, which is probably my only negative, that there's a lot of CG blood in this that doesn't look particularly good. It's a very violent and grisly movie that's fantastic, but when it goes for the CG blood, I don't love it. And also, there's an unintentionally funny moment They bring back a Wilhelm scream, and I kind of laughed harder than I should. I'm just like, oh wow, you brought back a Wilhelm scream out of nowhere, but okay, it was like unintentionally funny, but yeah, I loved Prey, and I know some people are like, well, this should have come out in theaters. If they make a sequel to this, and they should, that should go to theaters because currently the Predator franchise's reputation isn't the best, so I get
Yeah.
why this went to streaming. That being said, it's too good for streaming. It needs to go to theaters. And it makes me all the more mad that Dan Trachtenberg, the director of this and 10 Cloverfield Lane, left the Uncharted movie, but he gave us this instead, so I guess that's a good consolation prize.
Awesome. I look forward to watching it later. I'm also hoping to hit up Sandman at some point this week.
I'm hearing great things about that.
Yeah, I'm hearing fantastic things, and I'm familiar with the content and the author, but I have not read the Sandman graphic novel myself. It is on my list of things to get, to be sure. So, but yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, dude, there's all kinds of stuff out that's right now to watch.
So, getting us into our first news topic, our first like big one that really just shook up everything else. We had heard last week that Warner Brothers was going to have like a big meeting to kind of just more or less kind of a state of the union, and it was about what we expected. If you liked the current administration of Warner Brothers, you really liked the things that you heard, but if you don't like the current administration at Warner Brothers, it kind of reinforced some things that you already kind of believe. So make of that what you will. I don't know about you, Josh, but I've been very pro David Zaslav so far, except for their silence on the Ezra Miller situation, which again, good grief. Now Ezra's actually been charged with a felony. Like,
yeah.
Oh, jeez. But we get this meeting, and they kind of give some clarification of the Batgirl canceling. They kind of outline their future plans. Some people got all up in arms about some things. While some other people got up in arms about some other things. I will admit, not everything came across perfect, but I really like what went down with this Warner Brothers Discovery like announcement, or like not even official announcement, just like investor call or whatever, because yeah, some things sounded rough and sounded tough to hear, but at the same time it proves, at least to me, that David Zaslav is willing to make the tough decisions to secure the company's future in the long term, because a lot of these decisions are long-term decisions. A lot of people are pissed about like Batgirl, or all 5 people are upset about the Scooby-Doo prequel getting canceled, and they're just like, oh, why are you doing that just for a tax write-off? And we talked about it a little bit last week, but seeing the bigger picture, Discovery inherited $44 billion of debt from AT&T. They have to find ways to get out of that hole. They're already starting massively behind the 8 ball in terms of financially speaking. So they have to find ways to make up that loss. That will not be the case forever. They're just trying to, I know some people are like, they're trying to cut corners. Right now, they financially have to get themselves more or less on even playing field with everyone else. Also, there's a lot of information that was just like getting misconstrued of like, they're cutting the budgets for HBO. They're going to focus more on, Discovery content in terms of like just reality shows. They never said that at all. If anything, David Zaslav said they're doubling down on HBO like scripted content. Also, I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I've been saying this ever since Discovery was in talks to acquire Warner Brothers. They said that eventually next summer they'll be launching a combined app for Warner Brothers Discovery.
There we go.
Warner Brothers and Discovery. I'm just going, I have been saying that forever. And everyone's like, no, they're going to be 2 separate apps because they're two distinctly different markets, which they showed the bracket, which I get why people are pissed about that. They're like, well, our analytics show, in the words of someone that I don't watch anymore, well, the chart says that HBO Max has the boy demographic and leans more scripted, and Discovery is the girl demographic and tends to be more unscripted. I get why people would be pissed about that. It does come across a little too cold, numbers, but from a business sense, I get what he's saying. I don't think it was presented in the best fashion. So they're going to get it into one mega app. Josh, before I talk more about that, what did you think about these, like, this investor call? What did you think about the mega app? How do you think the current state of Warner Bros. Discovery is looking?
I mean, I think at least they're talking about their issues. At least they're taking steps to make long-term changes and get better in the long term. I think you and I have been saying, like, with the merger, it just makes sense to have a combined app. I mean, really, for those who do have HBO Max, like it already technically has a lot of like companies on it, like between Cartoon Network and like some of like the others, like HBO and I'm going blank at the moment, but yeah, like there's already a bunch of stuff on there. So to me, it really isn't that much of a stretch to just go ahead and combine the apps. I think a lot of people are justifiably irritated and mad about the canceling of Batgirl. To me, you have every right as a fan to be mad about that, and that to my only caveat is, as long as everyone involved got paid for everything that was
Absolutely agree.
done,
Yep.
I'm fine with it.
Which,
you know, they can do with that whatever they want with the tax write-up.
quick side tangent, did you see that the directors of Batgirl, Kevin Feige, actually reached out and gave him a nice little, hey, we're thinking of you, sorry about this, because they apparently worked on Miss Marvel, so Kevin Feige reached out to them and was like,
Oh wow, that's cool.
I'm sorry for you, like, we're with you. Like, I was like, oh, you didn't have to do that, Kevin, but that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, and I think thankfully it's for the greater good and
The
in
greater
some ways.
good.
Yeah, greater good.
Shut it!
I want to make sure that I say that I don't think that Discovery came into this and saw a bunch of DC projects and was like, okay, we can cancel that for a tax write-off. We can cancel that for a tax write-off. We can cancel that for, like, that's not, I don't think that's what they did here. I just think that, unfortunately, because of where Batgirl is in the timeline and the test audiences weren't really receiving it well, like, it's probably best to not put out another stinker, especially for a new, basically a new brand. And then also, like, for the girl that plays Batgirl, if she comes out, if that movie comes out and it's awful, like, she might not be able to be Batgirl ever again, which is not something I want to happen. Or seeing Keaton's Batman again has the potential to be really cool. So if that ends up being kind of ruined, then yeah, I'm okay with them kind of skipping that there.
Well, also, it seemed very much in this investor call that they have very much a focus on DC, and I think
Yes,
they are, despite the Ezra Miller stuff with the Flash, which kind of contradicts what they're kind of saying of, we value the DC brand. This is going to be our bread and butter going forward. This, the Wizarding World, the Game of Thrones are like our top IPs. Cancel the Flash before you ruin that its integrity anymore. I think David Zaslav and Warner Bros. Discovery is really trying to put their money where their mouth is of, okay, we say we value DC properties. We're going to stop putting out stuff that we only half-heartedly believe in to make money. He even subtly took a shot at the previous administration where he was just like, we're not going to put out a movie before it's ready so we can make a nickel. 2017's Justice League was only released so that executives could get bonuses. I appreciated that. I just find it frustrating when fans, he's saying all this, and he's saying DC going forward will have its own studio. We hope to have a 10-year plan with people in charge. He openly admitted, we're going to borrow Marvel's plan. But people got mad at that, I think, because it represents a change. And granted, I get that DC has quote-unquote, pledged change for years and years and years. But I think this is different because they're openly acknowledging, hey, Marvel has a formula that works. Let's just use that. And also, let's get Alan Horn, who oversaw a lot of those years, and work on it with him. And I think fans are more upset of just like, change is difficult. But as fans, this was the change that we've been asking for close to a decade. Now that we're getting it, we're complaining about it? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
David Zaslav seems to have this renewed interest in DC. DC Studios is going to be its own thing. But most importantly, he said they're going to assemble a team to map out a 10-year roadmap for DC films. I'm just going, a roadmap? What's that? I don't know what that is. Well, I'm a DC fan. I don't know what a roadmap is. I'm so used to what used to be for Marvel, what used to be a roadmap, until leading up to Endgame, and you could tell me they have a roadmap now, but a roadmap with many different roads that I don't know if they converge. I think this is a great idea. Now, I think it'll be curious to see who will be on that, that like counts Jedi Council, so to speak.
The Jedi Council.
Who will be on this DC brand? I think Alan Horn will be involved to some degree, obviously, because he's brought in as a consultant. The first name I think that's on this list, James Gunn, has to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because he more or less let it slip. It seems like he's working on a Bloodsport series or project with Idris Elba. Awesome. Yeah, his stuff hasn't done financially well in DC, at least with the Suicide Squad, but Peacemaker was one of the most watched shows they've ever done. I think it's safe to say that he'll still be there. I don't think we can rule out J.J. Abrams. I wouldn't be surprised if David Zaslav gives him an ultimatum of, okay, you keep hogging all of these projects that the previous administration gave you this contract with. You can have first dibs on being in this circle, but you can't have everything. You can be involved in the planning process with things, but you cannot hog everything. We are inviting you to the table because you got grandfathered in, but you can't be the one to sit at the head of the table. That's Roman Reigns' position. So where do you think the roadmap is for the 10 years for DC? Who can you see in charge? And do you see this? Do you actually believe DC this time around? Because they've said they had a plan in the past.
Well, yeah, but that was Warner in the past administration saying that. And, you can say that you can believe just about everything that they say. It's just about as much as they, as Sony says that they treat Spider-Man villains with respect. Anyway, I think it's about time. It really is. Like, it makes the most sense. As much as you want to, you can totally use the roadmap and like use the way that Marvel plans out their series. Totally do that, but still put out a different superhero product than Marvel. It's not that hard. To me anyway, because they do the same shtick every single movie, no matter their heroes, which is why it gets old real quick. But at the same time, I think because Zaslav did say like they want to build around their tent poles, the big three: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, which is like absolutely. And Zach can say what he wants, but he never really did that. He more built everything around Batman, and then like killed Superman before we got to use him, and then Wonder Woman's not really involved. So it's like
Snyder very much
your 10-year.
Snyder didn't want to build a universe. He wanted a Lord of the Rings trilogy, which cool. If you had a specific story that you wanted to tell, awesome. But I think Zack Snyder and a studio at the time were not on the same page in terms of what they wanted out of the relationship. Like, Warner Brothers wanted marriage. Zack Snyder wanted to hit it and quit it. Like, for lack of a better term, I think Warner Bros. Wanted a longer commitment, where Zack's like, I have a vision. This is what I want. And Warner Bros. Is going, oh, balls. This is not going well. I'm again reaffirmed ever since that very first interview that David Zaslav had of what's your top priority? Oh, we have these great IPs like Superman and all these other things that he listed right when he took the job. Clearly, Superman is a top priority for David Zaslav in DC, and I have said for years, get Superman right, and the rest of your universe will follow. I think that was a big problem with people not connecting with the Snyderverse. I like Man of Steel, but a lot of people had a disconnect because it was not the Superman that they're familiar with. I get that Snyder was eventually building to it, but by that point, you're kind of behind the 8 ball, so to speak, of like, if your story ends with Superman becoming the Superman you know and love, you're missing out on a lot of stories that people are kind of expecting.
Now, especially if you're not going to make a Superman 2.
Well, I think Zack Snyder was going to do Man of Steel 2, but then someone in the room said, what if he fights Batman? And then once you say it, you can't unsay it, type of thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, so far, everything we've talked about was announced at the investors call like officially announced things. The speculated thing, I don't. There's some sources saying this, but I don't know if I fully believe it because it's a very hit or miss source. But supposedly, Warner Bros. Discovery has reached out to Henry Cavill to bring him back, but he's turned it down. To which I immediately raised question marks about that from this source because I'm just like, Henry Cavill has been so vocal more than anybody else
Yeah.
about wanting to return. So I don't think he would shoot it down that quickly. I think there might be negotiations. I'm
Yeah.
curious about the future of the Trinity of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman because we have a Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. Does she stay on? I'd be fine if she stays. I'd be fine if she goes. I'm indifferent. You just started a Batman franchise, a pretty successful one with Robert Pattinson, but that's pretty self-contained. Do you find a way to bring in Pattinson as your main Batman? I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're hoping for. In which case, is Henry Cavill your Superman? Do you recast? I think we need clarification. I think that'll come in time. I'm not willing to bet Henry Cavill's out of this yet. I think it's a matter of what kind of Superman are they putting forward. I think he will be back at some point. Also, people, if you see these reports out there that Henry Cavill has been cast as Mr. Fantastic, don't go down that rabbit hole. That's not coming from an actual source. But also, he has completely the wrong build. Like,
Yeah, that's like doesn't work at all.
I know some people are just like, well, Henry Cavill's not coming back because he's holding out for the James Bond spot. I'm like, I
doubt that.
I think
heavily.
Henry Cavill really wants to be Superman. So I think it's a matter of like meeting somewhere in the middle financially. But if he leaves, I'm not gonna be surprised. I think it's more or less just like, just pick what you're gonna do with Superman at this point. Either keep Cavill or officially announce that you're rebooting it. Let the fans get their anger and vitriol out. Like the 2015 Royal Rumble for you wrestling fans out there. Eliminate Daniel Bryan in the middle and hopefully people will get their anger out. That didn't work, but maybe it'll work here. I think people are frustrated with Henry Cavill's Superman situation more so of just, it's in constant limbo ever since 2017's Justice League of like, is he gone? Is he still here? I think if there's definitive answers either way, people could get more on board. Looking at just the Trinity, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, where's it going, Josh?
As much as I'm really hesitant because it depends on like whether or not you keep Pattinson. Because if you don't, then what? You bring in Batfleck or you recast Batman for what, a third time in 5 years? I don't know about that. But then also, if you keep Pattinson, I feel like you have to recast Wonder Woman and Superman to kind of fit the mold a little bit. So
do you do a complete reset or pick and choose pieces?
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting, and at the very least, I know we can trust Zaslav with the hard decisions, but like it's gonna be nothing but hard decisions from this point on.
Well, interesting that I think this is either Thursday. Yeah, it had to be Thursday when the shareholders meeting was, and I think Warner Brothers knew that some things not popular were about to be said, so they, as they do, put out a secondary news topic so people might talk about that instead. And before you say we're conspiracy theorists of this timing was always planned, nah, Warner Brothers is known for putting out news just as some other stuff is going to drop. Oh, Ezra Miller got arrested again? Zazie Beetz is returning for Joker 2. That's all we really got news-wise. Put it out there. People still care. But I believe it was Thursday. News came out officially. It had been speculated for a while, but officially announced by the actress herself. Lady Gaga has been brought onto the Joker series. Folle à Deux, I believe is how you correctly pronounce that. I should know this. I'm actually part French, but I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I think it's too early to jump the gun saying definitively that she's Harley Quinn. I've seen a lot of people like go, oh, she's confirmed that she's playing Harley Quinn. No. She's confirmed that she is in the movie. I don't think that necessarily means she's Harley. Do I think she's playing their version of Harley? More than likely, but it doesn't mean she's confirmed as Harley
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
I think she just confirmed that she's in it. Um, God, I'm not looking forward to this movie at all, in the
No,
slightest.
man.
That
Not at
being
all.
said, Lady Gaga is a very talented actress. She is on a lot of directors' wish list of people to work with, especially after A Star is Born, put her on the map acting wise. Supposedly she's great in House of Gucci, even if the movie really underperformed. So I would be very curious to see her in this. But this type of casting feels a little headline grabbing, just like this will make a splash. It feels like a Kathleen Kennedy casting choice of, this is the big sexy name for casting. Does it make sense? Maybe, we'll see. Also, this movie's supposed to be a musical.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I mean,
look. I gotta call one of my coworkers out. He doesn't listen to the pod, so he won't find out. But bro, this guy tried to tell me that it makes sense for two to be a musical because the first one was all about dance numbers. No.
How is it about dance numbers?
Yeah, it has a dance number in it, and it's not really like a dance number, quote unquote. So, like, what's your actual like? No. That's not a thing. The musical part confuses me, but I don't hate it. It's one of those like, okay, sure, yeah, all right, let's go, let's get into it. I mean, because if it is Joker and Harley, then you can easily kind of manipulate that story into kind of being in their own heads. Would be hilarious if they're the only ones it's a musical for, so they're just always running around.
I love that idea.
Singing.
I love that idea. That is a great idea.
So it's a musical, but it's like only for them. It's like Enchanted, but with Joker and Harley.
Yes. And they're like playing with dead people or something. Like they're dancing with dead body parts.
There's so much you can do here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though. I thought Joker dies at the end of the first one, or he gets seriously injured or something.
No, last time we saw, he was running around a mental hospital. Remember?
Yeah,
because he does the thing where he like does the paint, but I think he ends up in a mental hospital or something like that.
Nate, you should know that by now. You can't be like, don't you remember? I'm like, no, I guarantee I don't remember.
Josh has been dropped on his head once or twice.
Yeah, and not just as a kid. But yeah,
I wasn't assuming as a kid, but that explains it.
I'm confused by the musical thing, but I'm more accepting than I think most people are on this news. I think your typical neckbeards are very excited to get their Joker back again.
But you see, Josh, the movie's about a society, and we live in a society, so that means Joker has something to say. And no other movie has something to say like Joker had something to say. It was the movie of its time. It was culturally impactful. Like, the media tried to silence the Joker, but it has such a powerful message that it couldn't be silenced. It needed to be spread. Its message needed to be spread into a sequel that's a musical that'll take over the world like La La Land. It'll be Ha Ha Land. And everyone will embrace it. And Josh is like, that's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad title. I don't hate it.
You watch. That'll be a poster that Boss Logic does.
That works. No, that totally works. Call it Ha Ha Land. And like they do like the Deadpool style marketing where it's just Joker and Harley dancing through different musicals. Like they do little Hairspray one, they do La La Land, like that. I could totally see that. That'd be hilarious.
But now I'd rather see Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone as Joker and Harley instead. Like, no offense to Joaquin and Lady Gaga, but that pairing would be amazing. And I know
I don't know where we're going. Like, even if she is,
I don't think the movie knows where it's going.
Yeah, I have no issues with Lady Gaga being Harley. I think she can totally pull that off. I'm here for it. I think the big question that you and I both have is why? Why is this happening?
Because the first one made over $1 billion, so they had to. I don't think Todd Phillips and company ever intended to make a sequel, but they're like, balls, we made money. I guess we got to come back and do it again and get raises.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so unfortunate. Now, thankfully, I haven't seen a ton of people complain about this, but I'm sure there's people out there that'll be like, "It's a musical. You want Joaquin Phoenix to sing? Walk the line? Like, I'm not actually worried about Joaquin. I think Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. I'm not looking forward to the movie, but I am looking forward to the soundtrack. I guarantee you now there's going to be a Lady Gaga song called Crazy Like Me, in which case it's a duet when they first meet or something like that. If that happens, it'll be like the top song like Lady Gaga in Top Gun Maverick or Adele with a James Bond movie. You watch. Crazy Like Me will be the top trending movie of 2024 is when this comes out, I think.
Sure. Which is crazy that they're still teasing this, like that this is coming out, and they're still like, yes, but the Flash can still be a thing too, guys. Guys, this is fine. This is totally fine.
It's all fine here now. We're all fine here now. How are you?
How are you?
Well, we have to ask an important question, not just of how are you. How are you doing, Jason Voorhees? And it seems like the answer is back from the dead. How are you? God, that was a terrible segue, but I'm just going to stick with it.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of you on that one.
Oh, gosh. I'm not lucky like it was a Friday the 13th. Oh, wait! Back on track.
Hey!
So, we've talked ad nauseum, not for a while because there hasn't been any updates in a while, but the Friday the 13th, I was about to say film rights, but everything rights have been in limbo ever since Sean S. Cunningham and Victor Miller won into legal battle over who owns what, and in proper legal proceedings, it ended in a completely messy fashion. Victor Miller wrote the original Friday the 13th, and Sean S. Cunningham directed it and kind of oversaw the rest of the franchise. So Victor Miller gets, like, the name Voorhees, Camp Crystal Lake, the origin of Jason, but then Sean S. Cunningham gets the hockey mask and the machete and using Jason as the killer. It got super, super messy and convoluted. So it more or less completely derailed the Friday the 13th video game, which still makes me mad because the very next patch, which was due out like the very next month, was supposed to be Jason X content. A map, a skin. I would have been able to crush someone's head in dry ice in video game form, and that got taken from me.
Yeah.
Now I just have to do it in real life instead. But put that aside.
Yeah. That'll work.
It's not like this podcast is public record or anything.
I'm ready for this.
Huh?
I don't know what to say, man. It's sure. Let's get a new movie. Why not? I don't know how you do it without being a copy of Halloween, but like at least in today's day and age, the thing, hot take of the day, bro, like the first Halloween, the first Friday the 13th, to me is the best. I love the twist that it was the mom all along. That makes so much more sense. It's cool. But I just, having a Friday the 13th movie, we haven't had another, we need more slashers because Scream ain't doing it. Halloween is still killing it for now, at least. We'll see how that ending movie happens. We'll see how that goes. But having another like Friday the 13th, such a classic in the horror genre, having that come back would be fantastic.
On the flip side of Josh, I actually like the Friday the 13th franchise, so I am curious about this. So this like renewed interest is one because it's settled. So now we knew the next step would be Cunningham and Miller coming together to be like, hey, currently neither of us will make money. Let's make money together, even though we hate each other. Like a Lucille Ball situation with never mind. That's dated reference. This is coming from
Yeah.
Lucille Ball, culturally relevant in 2022. My brain is clearly elsewhere. Guys, You will never fully know, but this episode's been wonky from a technical side. So this news is coming from Bloody Disgusting, who is a pretty reliable source within the horror sphere, and they more or less said we'll be getting a major update, probably within the film sphere or other developments, by the end of the year. And considering we don't have that much time left, with both in the year and in our own lives, we could all die soon. This episode's
Dark,
going
but okay.
swimmingly. We should get updates. Guys, this episode's just been weird. Just trust us. We should be getting updates by the end of the year. Cool. Does this mean LeBron James is no longer attached because he was supposed to produce one a while back? If he's not, I'm totally fine with that too. I didn't care either way. I just thought it was super, super bizarre. LeBron James produced Friday the 13th. I know some people would be mad about that, but I'm going... The franchise has had lower points. We've seen Jason punch a kid's head off. I think we've had worse.
I got you. You ready? LeBron James produces Friday the 13th. It's a slam dunk.
It's Friday the 13th. But Jason will always have more rings than LeBron.
I don't know about that.
But you can't have the ring. But the rings argument doesn't count. The rings don't matter when a player's how good a player is. LeBron is the GOAT.
I mean, okay, look, we're not going to have this discussion.
No, the GOAT recently passed away with Bill Russell. Rest in peace to the actual GOAT. Like, not even close, people.
That's fair. Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, the whole Michael Jordan the LeBron James conversation is it's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
We care more about Michael versus Jason as an argument.
No, that's not something I want. I want them to team up.
We've had Freddy versus Jason. I actually never want Jason and Michael to meet. Ever. Nah. It does not fit at all. New Jersey and Illinois are two separate states that I don't enjoy either one of them. Actually, Illinois is not that bad, but their characters just don't make sense. But I think it's nice we're finally getting an update on Friday the 13th. It's long overdue. Mm-hmm. Give us a new game. We've got a Texas Chainsaw game coming. We just had an Evil Dead game. At some point, we got to get a Halloween game. You had a good Friday the 13th game. Glitchiest game I've ever played this side of the Avengers, but it was fun nonetheless. So maybe a working game could be just fine. If nothing else, if you can't get a Friday the 13th game, put Jason in Dead by Daylight. That's a good compromise, I think. Which case?
I mean, it's basically the same game.
It is, except less glitchy and more playable. So
yes,
I think this is a good sign. I think more horror franchises out there, more classic horror franchises coming back is a good thing. We'll talk about legacy sequels in our main discussion. Shameless plug there. But our last news topic here. Our last news topic is one that Josh doesn't like Friday the 13th, but he also doesn't like Tom Cruise.
Correct.
But I have a feeling this is going to be more up Josh's alley because there's a big but in this situation here. It's a Les Grossman sized butt. Huh?
No, I'm good. I don't like the way you phrase that.
Josh, you don't want to think about Les Grossman's butt?
No, I really don't. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Why do we bring up Les Grossman, the greatest character in a comedy ever, played by Tom Cruise, fat Tom Cruise? It's because Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible 5 and 6 director Christopher McQuarrie seem to be teaming up for multiple projects in the near future. One of them is a Les Grossman project. Yes, the character Tom Cruise played in Tropic Thunder. I don't care what the other projects are. I need this Les Grossman project on the condition that the original Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise actually put on all that weight to be as fat as Les Grossman is. I know your method, Tom Cruise, but for your own health and safety, maybe just do a fat suit this time? That being said, oh my god, do I want this so bad. Just, can you imagine it's a meta comedy like Tropic Thunder was of actual actors playing themselves in the movie, and Les Grossman is their boss. So you get like Paul Rudd playing Paul Rudd. And in this era, post Harvey Weinstein, of not go that direction, but in terms of like skeezy boss, like Les Grossman is, make it a meta commentary about like the scummy bosses that every actor has at one point or another. Yes, please, because there's very few times in a comedy that I have laughed harder than I am talking scorched earth, mother effer. I will massacre you. Can you find out who that was on the phone? Thanks. Like, Les Grossman is such a good character with so many. Bring back Matthew McConaughey. Oh my God, Matthew McConaughey and Les Grossman again. I'm on board. Christopher McQuarrie, it's an interesting pair, but Tom Cruise really likes Christopher McQuarrie. The two Mission Impossibles, the final two Mission Impossibles, so McQuarrie's going to direct half the franchise when it's all said and done. He co-wrote Top Gun Maverick, the best movie of the year. I said it. But Josh, you see Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie are teaming up for future projects, one of them being a Les Grossman project. Please try and keep your composure on this one.
Oh yeah, I'll try real hard to keep my composure, buddy. Being that I already look like Les Grossman,
no, he's got a better beard.
Oh, that hurt. Why? Okay, I don't need
also,
that.
He's probably a better dancer.
That's up for debate.
And Josh is not nearly fat enough to be Les Grossman.
I know that wasn't a backhanded compliment, but like it felt.
Of course,
like
you're gonna
one.
Take it that way. Don't be so sensitive.
It's like when you tell somebody, you know what? For somebody who looks as stupid as you do, you're not that dumb. Like,
yeah, you're not that stupid for an ugly person.
Backhanded compliments
you're
are
pretty
one of the
smart
funniest.
for a homeschooler.
Hey.
How was your VeggieTales growing up?
Bro, okay, sorry, we are on a hardcore tangent right now, but like there's been some people using some sound bites from VeggieTales and Reels and TikToks, and it's been killing me. Anyway, talking about something that I don't care about. Tom Cruise, yeah, let's get more Tom Cruise in movies. I love it. I think the Les Grossman thing is going to be interesting with how they deal with the events of Tropic Thunder. Do you bring it up? Do you bring up some of the very problematic characters in today's time?
Yeah, as much as I like
what do you
Tropic
do with
Thunder,
that?
as much as I like Tropic Thunder, I know some people are more upset about just like Robert Downey Jr. played blackface. Well, technically, he played a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. But I mean, like, that's not for me the hard part to watch. It's any of the simple Jack stuff that I'm just like, this is not aged well.
No. I mean, let's be real here. The Robert Downey Jr.'s role in general, it's as impressive that it didn't get the movie like shut down right then anyway. That being said,
reminds me, did you ever see, this is going to sound horrible, but did you ever see the Joe Rogan interview with Jamie Foxx about Tropic Thunder?
No.
So apparently Robert Downey Jr. called Jamie Foxx about the role and be like, how do I approach this? And apparently Jamie Foxx has a spot on Robert Downey Jr. impression that I died laughing with. Like, look that up afterward. Jamie Foxx, Robert Downey Jr. impression.
I got you. That being said, Les Grossman is probably the most interesting thing we could see here. It would be interesting if, in my head, the only thing I can think of developing more projects with the MI6 guy is like, not MI6, Mission Impossible. It'd be interesting to see if they do another series, like a Mission Impossible-esque series, but with somebody else as the main, not with Tom.
Maybe I thought for a while that they'll do more Mission Impossible, it's just not with Tom in the lead role. So here's my thought, which is always dangerous before my thoughts die of loneliness or insanity.
Those two brain cells really working hard.
Mission Impossible is a revitalization of an old TV show, basically. Now it's more or less famous for the movies than the actual TV show itself. What if we get what if they do something similar with another TV show from, I think, around the time period or maybe a little later? What if we reboot the A-Team with this team behind it?
Ooh. Actually, yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd be pretty down for that. I don't know who you get to play people, but like, that's absolutely a concept that I would be down for.
Honestly, as he gets older, I could see Tom Cruise as Hannibal.
I can see that absolutely. I'd be even funnier if they let him be short the entire time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's A-Team. I can totally see.
Black Manta from Aquaman as B.A. Baracus.
Oh, let's go. I'm okay. Stop. No, I don't want to get hyped about something that's potentially not happening.
Yes.
But yeah, that A-Team revival movie wise would be fantastic. Mainly because Christopher McQuarrie definitely has the he has the skill to like ride that line between between action and comedy. They do that very well in the Mission Impossible films. So I'd be curious to see what they come up with. I, for one, love a good spy thriller, and so I would love to see more of the Mission Impossible style. I just don't like Tom Cruise, so we'll see what happens.
As per usual, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it is hoodies, t-shirts, notepads, stickers, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media logo or other fantastic designs. Go support the show that way. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether that's audio-wise on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, or whatever else, or video-wise on the main YouTube channel. And if you hadn't already subscribed to us on the YouTube channel, help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. We're making pretty decent progress, but help us get there, and then we'll talk Darth Jar Jar. But for now, because we're lazy, not lazy, but we're just
I don't know if that's true. Yeah, hold on.
Well, normally I just do the questions when Josh isn't here because it's easier to do questions by yourself when you can't. Like, some discussion topics, it's easier to have a sounding board to work off of. Questions can be done solo or together. So I don't know if Josh has ever done questions. If he does, it's been a very long time. So we asked you on our various social medias, in which case you can follow us on various social medias. We asked you for questions. I'm just going to put mine out there first, just so Josh knows which one I asked. Just because I'm curious Josh's thoughts on this one.
Okay. Hit me with it.
What do you think of legacy sequels a la Scream, Halloween, using the same name as the original movies while still having the same continuity as the original movies?
I think it kind of depends. That's very like a take by circumstance kind of thing. Because you can kind of get away with it with Scream. Albeit that they don't do it well. The other thing is, like, with the Halloween stuff, like, technically they went ahead and ignored like 90% of all of the Halloween movies ever made. So it's very interesting to see people directors and writers that want to tell a specific story and then using legacy products to sell those stories. I don't hate necessarily. I think it just kind of it depends on the circumstance. Like, if they tried to be like well, I mean, let's take Top Gun Maverick for instance. That is definitely a legacy title. It's never had a sequel before.
Well, I think that they tweaked it. They didn't just straight up call that one Top Gun again, like Halloween or Scream does.
That's okay. That's fair. Absolutely. But so then what do you, maybe like what, Bourne? What is it, like the fifth Bourne movie that's literally just called Bourne? Or I don't know, man. I think it definitely still just depends. I'm okay. I think the unpopular opinion is that I'm okay with remakes, as long as you do them well. I think if you're going to go through the trouble of remaking something, make it better than the original. And how do you do that? There's a lot of ways to do that. Like, do you remember the Carrie remake that was like literally shot for shot the exact same movie?
Unfortunately, I do remember that with Chloe Grace Moretz pretending she's not attractive.
Yeah, like, okay, bud. Yeah, exactly. So I think it depends on the circumstance and depends on the property. There's easy ways to I think there's far more trappings into making a bad movie when you go off of a legacy, because you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot right off the bat because of fan expectation. But I mean, I personally don't have a problem with it.
I only ask because it looks like the next Scream movie is going to be called Scream 2, to which I'm just going, really? But like Halloween, we had Halloween 1978. We had Rob Zombie's Halloween, which I feel like we only call it Rob Zombie's Halloween so we can differentiate it and make sure
Mm-hmm.
people know that that's what we're talking about. And then we call it Halloween 2018. I think fans adopt new ways to name it. I'm glad that Halloween, the new ones, the Blumhouse ones, got away from it pretty quickly with Halloween Kills
Mm-hmm.
and Halloween Ends. They're not calling it Halloween 12 and Halloween 13, the night he finally dies at home. Like, I still don't love the name Kills and Ends, but it's nice that they just completely ignore the number problem. So
Yeah.
just something to think about. I think is always interesting. Of that, it's just a common trend nowadays of just bring back the name from the original. Like whenever we get that new Hellraiser or Exorcist project, I'm sure they're just gonna be called Hellraiser or The Exorcist, and then whenever the
Yeah.
sequels come out, they'll name it something different.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
so first up from actual submitted questions, besides just that one that I thought I'd throw out there. What are the most tense scenes in cinema? Josh, what do you think of the most tense scenes you've ever seen?
Are we going? You and I are all about qualifiers. Are we going like theater experiences only?
No, I would say just any like clutching your seat, holding your breath movie moment, whether you saw it in theaters or not.
I think one of the first one that comes to mind is and I know there are some people that don't like this movie, but Sinister, for me, anytime, like as soon as nighttime comes, for I know for the first time we saw it, like once it goes at night, like you instantly go, oh no, okay, here we go, what are we about to see? Okay, there's that, there's oh, what's that long take in that war movie that just came out recently?
1917. I was
Yes.
just thinking about 1917.
Fantastic, very tense, very terrifying. I think the first time I saw it, when the Joker first kind of makes his appearance in The Dark Knight, with when he faces the mob and he's like, "You want to see a magic trick?" Like, God, I hate that line now. I hate that fans have made me hate certain parts of that movie.
Yeah,
Because they just
it's
say it all
kind
the
of
time.
cringe. It's very cringe.
It is. What about you?
So when I hear tense, my brain always immediately goes to two scenes. One, a slightly older movie. I mean, not slightly. It's close to 30 years old. And then a more recent movie. The older movie that my brain, whenever I hear tense movie scenes, my mind immediately goes to the kitchen scene in the first Jurassic Park with the raptors.
Yes.
My brain always goes to that because my mom like puts that as the barometer of like, this is one of the most tense scenes. If I can handle this, can I handle this type of movie? And I'm always kind of basing off of that barometer. That's my family's barometer of tense scenes. And I think the modern equivalent of that is Emily Blunt giving birth in A Quiet Place.
Ooh,
When she's
yes.
in the bathtub and the creature is going up the wall and it's getting closer and closer, both the creature and the baby. And you're just like, she's got nowhere to go. I know some people will be like, the nail. The nail is like a Chekhov's gun of it's going to go off at any point, but there isn't as much buildup. It just
Yeah.
happens. I think tenseness needs to be built up, needs to be drawn out. I want to say something from Halloween, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure there's something there. I'm glad you brought up 1917. 1917 absolutely would be on my list somewhere. The entire freaking movie. Because, like, when I got out of 1917, when I saw it in theaters, I just let out this big, huge exhale of, like, oh, it's over, Sam. Like, it's a masterpiece of a movie, but it's tense the entire
Ooh.
time. Oh.
The tense and horrifying at the same time. In Saving Private Ryan, when the newbie won't go help the guy who's like slowly getting stabbed.
Mm.
upstairs. Like, oh, there's like, it's very tense, and there's definitely a part of you that's like, come on, no, go, 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 you can help, like, get up there. But like, you know that he won't, because there's no reason that he gives you no reason to that he would go help. And oh man, good stuff, good stuff. I hate the scene because it's obviously like it's one of those scenes that sticks with you, but like, yeah, it's so good, masterfully done.
Good soup. I almost said that on Friday when we were playing.
Attaboy.
What movies should have been better suited as TV shows?
Oh boy, here we go.
I'll go with the easy one right off the bat. That like everyone when discussing this movie always says, yeah, it was better suited as a TV show. Marvel's The Eternals. Let's be honest, it absolutely should have been, and I wouldn't be surprised if Eternals 2 is announced for Phase 6, but I don't know if there's an enthusiasm there. I think Eternals is like the Roman Reigns of the MCU. Kevin Feige's just like, no, you'll love them someday. I swear, you will love them, right? Whereas Eternals, I think it needed to be a show. There's so much that they're throwing at you over such a wide span of time that I think it could have and probably should have been a TV show. But I'll throw out one that ever since Heather suggested it, even before the movie came out, I was like, yeah, that should have been. Uncharted should have been a TV show instead of a movie. I don't mind the movie minus some very glaring flaws that I have repeatedly beat that like a dead horse. But Uncharted, each game is anywhere between like 13 to 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, that almost sounds like the length of time for a TV show. Just flesh that out, make it an actual like mystery and an adventure that they go from place to place. Just stretch that out. Give more time to develop the characters and the dynamics. I think ever since Heather said it, I was like, yeah, that would work really well as a TV show. You know, Netflix probably would have picked up the rights and ruined it even more so than the movie. Which, speaking of which, Uncharted is on Netflix now, actually.
Which is, that's crazy. I think
Disney Plus soon.
An easy answer would be M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. But that's also like pretending like he would still do a good job with it.
And M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Okay,
if it was a slow turn,
dude. Ever since we did our 5 good things on The Happening, which like if somebody wants,
that's like, life-changing, man. That was life-changing.
It really was, because like there's a certain aspect of it that's incredibly fascinating. And honestly, if there was a certain build to it, and if they ever had like an actual like verbal realization of what was actually happening, then yeah, that would have been so good as a show. Let's see what else we got. Like I think there's a lot of movies. Like I think I'm going to use this opportunity to say this. I think Harry Potter needs to stay as movies, and we should never dive deeper, and they should not be word for word, scene for scene from the books. Now that I have read the books and seen the movies, look, guys, I understand why, if somebody read this when they were young, like why they would be so attached to it. But dude, there's a lot of stuff. And then we're not even talking about the house elf stuff. Like there's like the first one, Chamber of Secrets, is
Sorcerer's Stone,
sorry, is ridiculously long, and there's no reason for it to be. But there's a lot of stuff in the Harry Potter series that, while I understand why you love certain things, guys, I think the movies did the best that they could with what they were given. And at the end of the day, I'm going to take the movies, and I don't think you need to dive any deeper than that.
Yeah, I think people always want it word for word just because they love it so much, but I think people just need to understand books and movies are two separate mediums, and that's perfectly okay. What movies that were hits almost never happened? So basically, like, the proverbial what if of, like, these movies almost don't exist. Well, my brain almost always goes to Star Wars. If George Lucas didn't wrap his car around a tree and almost die, That will be a podcast discussion episode one day of we'll bring back the concept of what if, especially after watching Light and Magic. One moment changed movies forever of George Lucas almost dying. So if George Lucas doesn't get in that life-altering car accident, a lot of things change. But when I think of movies that almost don't exist, my brain immediately goes to Toy Story 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Do you not know the story of Toy Story 2, Josh?
I mean, I do, but that's not the first thing that my brain goes to.
So for those that don't know, Toy Story 2 was actually originally pitched to be a direct-to-video sequel that like wasn't supposed to have a budget, and then the people involved were like, no, it needs to be an actual proper sequel for theaters. So they get really far along in the development process, maybe, I think, over halfway, or like 75%, maybe they even had the whole thing done. And the project file and all their work was deleted or destroyed or got rid of.
That's crazy.
They lost all of Toy Story 2. But how do we have it, you ask? Well, someone, like one of the secretaries or someone that worked on the production, unknowingly had a backup on their home computer. I don't know if it fully restored everything, but they didn't lose all their progress. They had it. Call it the first backup system for those Epcot fans that know that reference. They actually had a backup on someone else's home computer that more or less single-handedly saved Toy Story 2 after it got deleted. I'll be honest, if I was around at that time, I more than likely would have been the person that accidentally would have deleted Toy Story 4 just by accident, going, oops, Command Z, why isn't it coming back, guys?
But like for me, the first one that comes to mind is Deadpool, the movie that should not have happened.
Call.
But Ryan Gosling, I mean, somebody, not Ryan
not
Gosling,
Ryan Gosling either.
Somebody, we don't know who for sure, obviously, leaked the footage, and then the rest is history. Like the studio did not believe in the project, and then somebody named Ryan leaked it, and everybody was like, why are we not getting this? We need this now. And the rest, we've got 2 movies out of it, and now he's in the MCU, and the rest is history, obviously.
And could potentially have a very important part in Deadpool 3 with, the time travel element and the multiverse element. Also, I'm just gonna put it on record now. I think I know for a fact we're getting a lot of cameos in She-Hulk, and I won't reiterate the most important cameo and what he looks like.
Shut up, I hate it so much.
So She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if Deadpool shows up in She-Hulk at some point.
And they both break the fourth wall together?
Be like, what are you doing here? Both look at the camera. Oh, I'm foreshadowing. And then just looks dead down the camera. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Deadpool shows up. What film or TV series would benefit the most from one change? Oh, I feel like this is a whole segment that we've wanted to do for our podcast episode before. We've done from time to time. So narrowing it down to just one would be difficult for most, but we're not most people. Spider-Man 3 is a good movie if you just change one part. Just give the Venom symbiote to Harry Osborn instead of Eddie Brock. Don't have Eddie Brock in it at all. Just give the symbiote to Harry. That fixes most of your movie right there. You don't have some force villain at the end. You have this rivalry that's been built up for 2.5 movies coming to a head. You've established that the symbiote is drawn to anger and aggression. Who is more pissed than James Franco, especially after he gets blown up? Instead of finding a goblin suit, what if he has the Venom tank in his dad's office, like it is in the Spider-Man games, and he latches onto that a la Dane DeHaan jumping into the Green Goblin suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So he gets healed by the Venom symbiote. It's just right there. It's not that hard. You can fix Spider-Man 3 very, very easily. And then he snaps Peter's neck for that stupid dance that he does. And then it just continues on as a Venom spinoff.
I have seen so many people try to explain away that stupid dance. It's like, guys, you don't get it. It's because he's never been cool. So like that's what he thinks cool people
I've never
do.
been cool. Even I know that's stupid.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those that's
Don't
like,
agree
really,
so fast.
look, dude, you've been at me all day, bruh. Nah,
That's
we ain't
fair.
doing
That
that.
is fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
This one is definitely tough. I personally don't have anything that comes to mind right off the bat. But like you said, like this has been one we've wanted to like dive into. We should like just do some editorial videos like every now
One
and then.
small
like,
change. That's the
one
name
small
right there.
change. Absolutely. One small change. That's how nope. That's not a joke I'm gonna make. Anyway, yeah, that's the thing with Spider-Man 3, absolutely. Like I don't know. I almost want if we're doing Spider-Man, what if we had Gwen Stacy like dying in the middle of Spider-Man 2 instead of at the end, and so the rest of the movie is him figuring out how to be Spider-Man again? Oh wait, no. That's literally just Dark Knight Rises. Anyway.
We've already established this. We've already fixed Amazing Spider-Man 2.
True.
We've already fixed it time and time again. We fixed it before we even fixed movies, because we're paid movie fixers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
more
what we're
than
paid
likely
for.
we'd just be movie breakers. Our excitement is off the charts for this next question. I feel bad because it's one from one of our most loyal listeners, but since the last bit of info we've been given about the next Avatar movie, are you both excited about it as it gets closer, or would you rather just lower expectations to avoid being disappointed? Well, I can't lower my expectations anymore.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
sounds
care.
about right. Yeah,
I hate the first one so much.
I won't go that far. I will
I
say
will.
like from at least a Five Good Things has ruined me. From at least an aesthetic point of view, it's a very pretty movie, and the acting's not too bad, and like the story, while very very predictable and kind of has some questionable outcomes, is not terrible. But I'm with you, dude. I don't care. This is what 20 years too late.
Well, the first one came out in 2009, so I think the problem
So
is
10 years.
The first one relied so heavily on the visual effects, which at the time were groundbreaking and fantastic. I don't know if the general audience is blown away by visual effects to the degree that they were back in 2009 nowadays. Like 2009, we were still proudly rocking our 1080p Blu-rays, and we're like, oh, 60 frames per second? Whoa, no, that's out of, that's crazy.
Not possible.
Whereas, like, I think now we're kind of just, I don't want to say we're inundated with technology too much. We're just kind of used to visual effects, but like, we've seen truly outstanding things, both like created digitally. I was gonna say Marvel movie, but can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once has fantastic CGI, or even practical things like Top Gun Maverick. We still love the spectacle, but I don't know if the draw of Avatar is still there. I don't know also if it's as culturally relevant. I know that there's a park at Disney World, the section of Disney World for it, but I don't think it's stayed in the zeitgeist nearly as long, and I don't think it'll do nearly as well. I'm just not excited for it. I've never liked Avatar. It's just Pocahontas with blue people. It's impressive visually, but I don't think audiences are as enamored with visual effects anymore. They're used to it by now.
Yeah. And these days you have to tell a good story. Anyway, but no, yeah, because it's definitely Pocahontas with blue people, but like with more moral questions and less answers. Like I don't understand how you can somehow get worse than Disney's Pocahontas.
James Cameron likes to ask the big questions, but not provide answers to them.
Yeah,
like Ridley Scott. Next up, I've got one serious answer and one that Josh and I are just going to take it and run with it and have fun with because we talked about it last week very, very briefly. What movie or TV show would you pitch to a studio? I'll give the serious answer out of the way so that way Josh and I can just dick around with our idea here. My serious one is, honestly, if I was given a chance to pitch a movie to a studio, I would go with my age-old Mummy remake, but in the style of The Descent, of a bunch of archaeologists go
Yes.
into a pyramid, looking for treasure or looking for old artifacts. You can get like different groups. You can get your easy like kill fodder of like, oh, we're just here for the gold, and then you can get your people like your quote unquote good guys. We're just here for the archaeology, for the knowledge, for the sake of knowledge. Um, but they get trapped inside a pyramid. It always freaked me out as a kid learning about pyramids and mummies, that they would purposely make empty rooms that went to nowhere so that thieves would get trapped in the pyramids forever and basically starve and die. Like it was a labyrinth inside of pyramids. That always freaked me out as a kid. I would love that for a movie. Of people often make fun of the Mummy for you're just slow and not necessarily that creepy. Doesn't matter if a mummy's fast or not if you have nowhere to go. If you are stuck in a room, you will eventually get caught up with. Also, I've never understood, like, the Mummy doesn't need these big, huge stakes of whether it's the Brendan Fraser one, which I love, or the Tom Cruise movie that exists and is the bane of my existence, as much as I love that terrible trailer. The Mummy does not have to take over the world. He could just be pissed that you're in his house and, like, kill you that way. Or it's not one mummy in particular, it's all the carcasses come to life in the style of The Descent. That's what I would pitch. A very much more claustrophobic
Mm.
approach to the Mummy. And the Mummy's not even my favorite Universal monster by no means. I just think the premise works too well. It could be set in any time period. Could have a high body count. The Descent works so well as a horror movie. Just swap that out with Egyptian mythology, and I'm right on board. That would be my pitch for a story.
Nice. Yeah, that I think you and I are both big fans of The Descent, so having something Descent-esque or Descent adjacent, it was just, to me, is an automatic win. You could even kind of like, because of the mythology, kind of tie in some As Above, So Below with kind of the mind bendingness, which is also a movie that I has no right being as good as it is.
What if they're trying to get to like the Pharaoh's tomb, but it's guarded by other things, and with each passing level, there's a new,
yes,
like an Anubis statue or something.
If I'm doing a serious pitch, I'm not going to say Redwall as much as I want to. There is, and I almost want to say do a Mistborn movie, which is a series I just finished reading, but allegedly they're going to be in production for one in 6 months, which is crazy to think about. I think if I'm pitching something, I want to keep going down this road of bringing graphic novels to the screen. I would absolutely love, because of how short it is and it's very straightforward in its story. I think it would work better. No, yeah, it would work better as a TV series. But if they adapted The Last Ronin, the new TMNT comic, to some sort of streaming service, probably HBO Max, so they can go as dark as the comic does. It's fantastic. It's, for those that don't know, it's about the grandson of Shredder, like finally getting one up on the Turtles, and there's only one left, and he has to, including Splinter. So it's he has to fight back with dealing with the loss of his entire family. And that's just, I know I'm a TMNT guy, and like I know that's like not surprising coming from me, but like, for those who haven't read The Last Ronin, it really is one of the best TMNT stories ever written, and it's just, I would love to see it on screen.
So we jokingly talked about this last week, so now is the perfect time to talk about it. How Josh and I, collectively, as a very dangerous and delusional duo, would pitch to a actual movie studio, and I mean this with full sincerity. Josh and I would pitch the hell out of a live-action Rescue Heroes movie. Like,
Bro, say less. Yes. For those that don't know, Rescue Heroes was a toy line back in the early 2000s.
with the biggest boots this side
The
of Ninja
biggest
Turtles.
of boots.
And the greatest of pun names ever. Like, they had a surfer patrolman named Rip Curl. They had a fireman named Billy Blazes and Wendy Waters. You had a police guy with an awesome motorcycle named Jake Justice. The cop was named Jake Justice, not the motorcycle. I don't know what the motorcycle's name was. Then you had like a dude that rock climber named Rocky Canyon, who, I mean, it has to be played by The Rock. He already kind of resembles Rocky Canyon to begin with, of a big brute bald guy. And
like Heavy Duty?
Rocky Canyon. I just need it. The only thing is, the Rescue Heroes are like a first response team. There's not like a bad guy, but if you could have like a Cobra Commander type organization that the Rescue Heroes have to be on patrol against, I don't hate it. So you get like The Rock as Rocky Canyon, Henry Cavill with the mustache as Billy Blazes.
Oh my gosh.
Jessica Chastain is Wendy Waters.
There's so much I love about that, though. Like, I almost want to say lean
Chris
hard.
Hemsworth is Rip Curl.
Oh, stop. Now I have it. I need to have this. Excuse me, but like, bro, like,
Michael Pena as Jake Justice.
No, you know what? Let's lean into our source material, like, you know, a cartoon from the early 2000s, and just have them like fight like against like with some environmental activists against like some big corporation dealing with something. Like let's I don't care, like they're the Rescue Heroes. They have like an underwater base.
They had a dog. An aerial flyer had her own eagle. She was awesome. She was like dating Jake
there's
Justice
so much that they
It's so they glowed in the dark, guys. I don't think you realize how cool it was that they glowed in the dark and had abnormally large elephantitis feet.
It's so crazy though that the show is the reason I know how to solve that dot puzzle.
Yeah,
of like,
the house and the X in it.
Yeah. Connect all the dots with one line. And Billy, I just vividly remember Billy Blazes being like, "This
Rocky,
puzzle,
you gotta
kid,
think outside the box.
You gotta think outside the box, kid." And the guy's like, "I don't know what he means."
It's like a pilot episode.
Yes, it's so good. And I had that on VHS, dude.
Same. And they had like the coolest bass. It was like
God,
dude, they literally lived in Happy Harbor like the Young Justice team.
They did. They literally did.
They had their own like mountain. They had their own like jet. You could like shoot the boat out the back. The boat had its own like speeder that you could shoot out the front. I would buy all the toys again.
All right. Chill out, Bob Chapek. You're only thinking of the merchandising opportunities.
If Chapek buys the rights to Rescue Heroes and puts a Rescue Heroes series on Disney Plus or a live action movie, all will be forgiven. All of it. I don't care. I'm drooling now, literally.
It is like one of those shows that I would love to like get for them to tap in, especially like or like Street Sharks was one of my favorite things growing up. It's so stupid, but like it could be so fun.
Or the other one that I will die on my sword if it needs to happen. Either Frog and Toad, animated, not live action, because oh god no. Or the greatest cinematic / literary crossover of all time, Franklin Little Bear crossover. I need it. I will not compromise on my values. Franklin Little Bear will be the most ambitious crossover if it ever happens, and I want something besides just a Crest Oral-B commercial for toothpaste with the two of them.
It's crazy that you know that.
Of course I remember that commercial. Little Bear taught us all how to brush our teeth. He was very good at it.
All right, so anyway, moving on.
Oh, jeez. Oh, three more. Which films or TV shows have really good character development? Okay.
Ooh,
let's get the obvious one out of the way. The beautiful, beautiful human being / mom / babysitter that is Steve Harrington.
That's good. Yeah. Absolutely.
I have a friend right now that he's on the young side, but he's going through it for the first time, and he's just finished season 1. He's like, I hate Steve so much. I'm like, I promise you, by the time you finish season 2, you will die for Steve. He's like, no, Steve is the worst. I'm like, mark my words, because Steve's journey is one of the best. He goes from total douche canoe to the greatest mama bear of all time. Even if he's getting a little hairier in the chest, as all the kids mention repeatedly.
Weirdly, it's so weird. But not just Steve. I think Stranger Things in general is really good about character development. Shows like Arcane is fantastic with its character development. The Last Airbender show, fantastic.
Zuko!
Dude, Zuko. There's so many. Like Katara's fantastic. Like everybody's so incredible. Toph even.
But Zuko,
I'm trying to think of shows that aren't kids shows.
But those are more character evolutions. I think Zuko has the biggest character development in terms of just being like the primary antagonist to being.
That's fair.
As much as I love Aang, Zuko is like the real hero and the real MVP of especially the later seasons of Last Airbender of just, dude, your character's come so far. Like when he betrays Iroh and he thinks Iroh's burned him forever, and he's like trying to apologize to Iroh, and Iroh just rushes to hug him. He's just like, the babyface turn is complete. Zuko is so a good guy now. Like, oh, it's so good. And Iroh has no character development because he's one of those characters. You either have a character that undergoes an arc and has tremendous character development, or they're the steady, I always kind of remain the same. And that's not a bad thing. Indiana Jones never changes as a person. He's always the same character. Marty McFly always kind of stays the same as a character. Some characters
for better or for worse.
Get over your hatred of Marty. He's not that bad. We have other protagonists that you hate a lot more, but
that's fair.
Zuko, oh, that character development. I was almost tempted to put Draco on the list, but his development could have been better.
Oh, I got one.
Neville,
absolutely.
The sexy piece that is Neville.
What a god! Like by the end of the last movie, I was like, dude, you are like my favorite character. Like him
move over, Harry. He's the chosen one.
Okay, but
because he cut off a head of a snake. He's the best.
But also Ben Solo. Kylo Ren is one of the best characters in the sequel trilogy, and you can't change my mind. The fact of the matter is,
never will.
When you know what? If I could rewrite a scene, yeah, it'd be that last scene. Rey dies, Ben survives, and goes on to try to undo the harm that First Order does.
Like, so what I said in our pitch a few weeks ago.
Absolutely. But no, yeah, Ben Solo is absolutely the best character and has one of the best, the only character arcs in the sequel trilogy. Do you got anything else? Any other ones off the top of your head?
In terms of character development, I'm sure we're missing a big one.
We're missing a lot of them.
Legolas and Gimli.
Fantastic.
Character development. Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy of going, I want to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters. I'm a Jedi like my father before me. Oh, I'm still a moron because I literally throw my lightsaber away as I'm saying that, and then you get electrocuted less than a minute later because, I done goofed.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. I think my current favorite, I think, is Arcane. When it comes to character development, Stranger Things is just killing it right now as well. And like, I completely understand if neither of those shows are your cup of tea, but there's definitely a lot of really good content out there right now.
Before we move on, honorable mention to Nancy for being a good character, a bad character, and back to a good character again, just by being paired with Robin. Robin makes everything better, including the next Batman movie, right, Matt Reeves?
Wait, what?
I refuse to let that go. We'll just stick on the Stranger Things train, why not? If you were in charge of Stranger Things, who would you kill off? Oh, I would have killed off so many more people in the season 4 finale.
So I guess spoiler warning, I guess, for season finale.
It's been out for a while now, so.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, like you just said, you have a friend that hasn't seen it yet.
I don't care. He doesn't listen.
Okay, fair enough. He doesn't
listen to the show.
All right, so do you keep, I want to say the people that died, do you keep alive? But like only one person died, so
Technically,
There's
two if
that.
you want to count Papa again, even though Papa's died before.
Yeah, screw that guy. Who else would you have gone? Would you have kept Eddie alive? Would you have kept Papa alive?
I would have killed at least one person per party,
Hmm.
just for maximum stakes. I would have killed Jonathan because that'll emotionally destroy Will more than anything. Mike, you kind of still need him, I think. That would have turned 11 fully to the dark side. Kill Jonathan. As much as I like him, you probably could have killed Argyle. Um, Kill Murray and the Russian guy that he's with, that that
Mm-hmm.
Hopper meets. I was surprised that guy survived. I know a lot of people are expecting me to say Steve. I would have killed Nancy instead, because Nancy very much is a linchpin for a lot of the group's dynamic, and she would go a long way for, oh, I got this great redemption arc of becoming a really likable character again, and then die. Or Robin, because she's such a fan favorite. I think everyone was expecting
That's
Steve to
fair.
die. Pull the rug out and get someone else. Obviously, you won't kill one of the kids because you just don't do that. I would have absolutely kept oh, what's it? Why am I blanking on his name? Metallica solo. Why am I blanking on his
Oh,
name?
Eddie.
Yeah, I still would have killed Eddie. I know people are like, Eddie was the best. Yes, but Eddie still needed to die. It's just kind of how it works
Mhm.
in Stranger Things. I still would have killed Eddie. Um,
Yeah, I'm kind of pretty. I think the only one I would have not done for you in years is Nancy. I want if she's gonna die, it's gonna be in the next season. I need because now they unfortunately are in this awkward love triangle situation. So I would have preferred Jonathan over Steve. I will say if you're going to go through the trouble of half killing Max, kill her all the way. I don't. To me, this like half-hearted, like, oh, like we're gonna make Lucas watch Vecna win and kill the love of his life right in front of him, but then we're also not gonna let her die. That to me, that's almost cheating Lucas out of some potential really, really awesome character moments in the coming season. Because he has come around a lot. He's not my favorite character by far, but like he's definitely not just like a bland, like just happens to be their character. And I really wish that as much as I love Max, the absolute heartbreak of her fighting Vecna off and him still getting her is that hits harder than them bringing her back to life somehow.
fair, fair. Yeah, I think she'll be back at some point.
Yeah,
But also I saw a theory out there that I also kind of like. Everyone dies but 11, and she's got to go into the upside down because I think the upside down there is no time, kind of like the quantum realm,
the quantum realm.
quantum realm in the MCU. I think that could be interesting. Maybe kill 11 if you're really ballsy, because then you have no hope and Vecna really wins, and then you gotta find a way to bring her back. Because oh my gosh, can you imagine if 11 stops Vecna, but she dies in the process right as Hopper shows up, and he missed it by that much? Oh,
Yes.
emotional turmoil. I thrive on you. I love seeing people die in shows and movies if it means something. And
Yeah,
sometimes it really,
absolutely.
really doesn't. So lastly, speaking of things that don't really have an emotional punch, our last question: do you think Wanda is really dead in the MCU? And if not, when will she return? So, spoiler alert for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We called it for months. She was the bad guy. It seemed like she had a redemption arc at the end and brought down like the whole mountain on her. But right as the rock looks like it's about to hit her, it looks like there's some like red explosion. So maybe she either teleported herself away or she actually did die. That being said, just because this Wanda is gone, we've introduced a multiverse. I highly doubt Elizabeth Olsen is gone. Maybe
Yeah.
our universe's established Wanda is gone, but maybe a mutant Wanda is out there somewhere. We know the Wanda that has Billy and Tommy out there. She's still alive and doing well, probably just slightly concussed. There's millions upon millions of Wandas out there, so I think it's impossible for her not to come back. It's just a matter of, is our Wanda dead? To which I will also still say no. I've read an interesting theory that right as she was about to die, Kang sucked her out of the time stream and is keeping her somewhere else, away from the equation, so to speak, because he knows how dangerous she is, and he has like his greater Kang plan. I think Scarlet Witch will be back at some point, our universes, but even if she's not, this is not the last time we see Wanda. It just might not be our Wanda. Maybe this time she'll actually be a mutant.
No. Yeah,
but we can't have nice things.
Is our universe's Wanda dead? I say no way in hell. There's no way she's alive. Like that's if the MCU is good at something, it's not fake outs. So
no one stays dead except Peter Parker's loved ones.
And yeah, exactly. So there's no way. It's, to me, we didn't see the body, and that's the number one rule. If you don't, in cinema, if you don't see the body,
no body, no crime.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there's a chance that she's dead at all. I'd be curious as to how they explain it away. But yeah, there's no way she's dead. As far as when she shows up again, I don't know. It kind of depends on what Kang's about to do. So to me, I think at the latest, Avengers Kang Dynasty. But I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up before then.
You watch, she shows up in something super, super random, like the Thunderbolts as the thing that they have to stop or something like that, trying to copy the Suicide Squad because Marvel's run out of ideas.
I hate that though, because then that makes the Illuminati look like a bunch of chumps if they're able to beat her.
I mean, they kind of were chumps, though.
They were, but like that's not fair at all.
I'm the smartest man in the universe. Let me tell you how to beat Black Bolt.
Yeah, I know. It is what it is, you know.
Mom
like
spaghetti.
Quite literally. Don't yell your head off. Anyway,
what mouth?
I think it's time you cut these questions in half. I'm just keep going. I'm going to keep going with the
oh snap!
There it is.
And rumor is Maria Rambeau's Captain Marvel might still be alive because she just dropped a building on her. Mordo's still alive. We know that. Besides that, I'm trying to forget. In Multiverse of Madness, it was not very good. Well, we always like to hear guys' questions. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate for us to do another Q&A episode. Just send us a question whenever you feel like it, and we'll probably either get around to it in the next episode or the next Q&A. We always like hearing from you guys. So if you haven't already, subscribe to whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.